one of the things we talked about earlier is in your paid search campaign, you're not necessarily going to invite those visitors to land at your homepage. They're going to get lost if they land there. You need to land them at the healthcare page or whatever industry you're promoting here. What that calls for is a robust landing page strategy. And that really welcomes the people who are looking for that information with an open handshake. And you can do that really easily. All it is using one of your set page templates, and you provide content on that page template that's all around healthcare, and you can dynamically generate content based on the search terms. So for example, you write a piece of code that says if someone was looking for healthcare consulting or whatever, you'll have the title on that landing page include some of the search terms that that person looked for. Dynamically generated just means that the landing page is not static. It's not just something that appears there. It's hard-coded. It takes a piece of information and reflects back information that the searcher was looking for. And that creates that open handshake. It reflects back to the user, I heard you, you're looking for this information. And it makes sure that you don't have the high abandonment rate. People who just click away if they realize, oh no, that's not what I was looking for. The more relevant your returns, the more relevant the information that you provide to users, the more engaged they're going to be. Another way to spotlight and tailor some relevant content is to consider creating dedicated solution microsites to focus on an industry vertical. Depending on the amount of content you have there, relevant blog posts, articles, webinars, conference presentations, bios, for example, if you have attorneys in that particular space, bios, a subset of bios in that area. Those are all great ways to aggregate content around a more specific set of interests. In this type of play, it's really about conversion. You're trying to get people to click through and to take an action. So the types of metrics that you'd be looking to follow here are things like click-through rates, the page views, number of pages someone saw on your site, the visit duration, how long they spent, how much time they spent on each page, and also the request for information. It's important in the digital, one of the great things that digital allows you to do is to create direct response. A lot of people will choose to pick up the phone and call, and it's hard then to track it back to what did they call about unless you ask them specifically, which we do recommend you do. We do. But you can also click to request information, and that can be as simple as bringing up an email window where someone can get information on whatever. And what we found in our research that people are in fact willing, buyers of B2B services are willing to click to get more information, and in fact they expect to be able to request that information online. Here's an example for what that would look like. We've used one of our clients, Navigant. If someone's searching for healthcare consulting and a number of terms come up, the search query should mimic what that landing page is. So in this example, they would land on a healthcare consulting vertical page of Navigant, which is actually 2 pages down. And the page that they land on should have a clear path and an action for users to take. So in this example, you're able to download, to click articles and relevant papers that Navigant had published in the healthcare space. All right, the third part about penetrating an industry, you want to build a digital relationship with your current clients. These are people that you already speak to, so what would that look like? It means providing value-added information to your existing clients as part of your customer loyalty program. So whatever efforts you have that you're currently talking to people on, if you send them an annual report, you send them a weekly or a monthly email newsletter, letting them know that, that you've got a new vertical here makes a lot of sense. You want to be able to, one of the things that digital allows you to do is to enable ongoing communications with the ease of a single click. And you can extend the conversation online to an email invitation, providing them webinars and recent case studies or conference presentations, and providing and posting information out there through your blog or through your online social media networks on relevant news topics. And it broadens this digital allows you to broaden your reach and your exposure and the mind share using social networks. So we saw that example earlier with using Twitter to really get the word out there and to get a mention, if you will, and that really helps drive your natural search rankings and lets people who be more aware of the services that you offer. And this is more around digital relationships. This is more of a retention play, and the types of things, metrics you'd be looking to track here are your click-through rates, your repeat visitor rates. You want to be looking at your site traffic data to take a look at the engagement, interaction, what paths are people taking, and also download rates, how many times people are actually downloading any particular presentation. And that helps you get at how sticky if you will, the engagement is. So it's really that surround sound effect. You want to have the blog out there. You want to have your LinkedIn page. We haven't spoken too much about that. We will get to it a little bit more detailed later in today's presentation. You've got a blog, for example, the Wall Street Journal Health blog, where you can buy advertising on or submit an article or an op-ed piece for. You've got your Twitter page, for example, out there. In emails, the bottom line of your email is a great place, sort of a footer. It's a great place to let people know about something that's new information that's come out, because most communications with clients these days do happen via email. Why not use that space? All right. Our third scenario is around entering a new geographic market. So the example that we pulled up here was thinking about an organization that wanted to raise awareness of this firm in the state of California. So it is operated, say for example, you're a large firm, you have a national presence, you just entered the state of California, and you're trying to figure out how do you let people know that you're there. There are ways to do this that are more targeted. You can use digital to buy paid search terms for searches that originate in California only. There are ways to do this just through Google AdWords, where you can narrow down the geographies that you're targeting. They do this by looking at the IP addresses. It's not 100% effective, but it's pretty close. I'd say it's close to 85 to 90%. You want to, in this, for example, you'd be purchasing for a law firm broad litigation terms. It allows you to purchase very broad terms much more cost effectively when you geo-target, to the tune of, for example, if you wanted to buy the term tax law, nationally, buying the term tax law would cost you $236 a day, roughly. To buy it in California only would cost you $30 a day. The campaign can flex depending how the state news or political situation changes. So, for example, healthcare is big on the national scene. California legislature or news may be tailored slightly differently, and so you're able to tailor your campaign and to ramp it up and ramp it down depending on what you see happening in the market. And your ad copy can also highlight your California address. So, for example, in the paid search, you've just got 3 lines of text there, but there's ways to make sure that you are reflecting that you're a California-based firm. So, for example, call our San Francisco office at 415 whatever. Your landing pages can become the portal page for the state. So on any of these paid search terms or online display media, you want to make sure that you're employing a landing page strategy that's reflective of the fact that you're working in that particular geography. And finally, you can use online display media in local newspapers, not just at the national level, and that can also drive to the local level pages, those landing pages. So here's an example of someone buying term litigation attorneys, and the paid search results are there along the right, and then you would then direct them to a landing page. We've got our trust and worthy example here that would be tailored for, in this example, a California law firm. So how do you shift the perception to become a California law firm? So how do you, we talked a little bit about how do you make sure people know about you, and we're talking now about shifting people's mindsets. Well, over time, natural search is a big part of this campaign, and that takes time to build up. Certainly making sure that your local office is indexed in Google, and because they rank so high on natural search results. And you want to make sure that the landing pages for these campaigns are also similar to your paid search campaign, that anyone buying these anyone for your natural search, that they are coming to the lower level page. You're not directing them to just the home page of the firm. And imagery alone, so for example, a picture of the Golden Gate Bridge, does not convey knowledge of the state. You need to demonstrate a brand presence and participation with state and local organizations and association sites. And here's an example of the Daily Journal or the California Real Estate Journal. There are a number of properties. One of the things that digital has enabled, there's a magazine rag for everything, and there's one for each state too. And so this is a great way to buy a very targeted placement in front of folks who are reading it anyway.